Take your time and press it down. See, my battery's gonna go dead. I have no intentions of top stitching this whatsoever. I'm not quilting this. Nothing special. This is it. Okay? Sometimes simplicity is best. And when you put things together, they work themselves out. They really do. Over the years, I have learned to make some of the craziest but simplest items, whether it's for the Christmas tree or whatnot, out of pine cones, just cheap stuff, free stuff, and they like, oh my goodness, you pine cones, really? That looks so expensive. It wasn't. It was absolutely free. Can't beat free. So, and remember, we'll cut all the excess off, so you're not really worried about that. My video thing is terrible. Okay, so you have that. This is how the back looks, if you're wondering. That's how the back looks. Alright, let me move this over. And now we just have the bottom piece, which I already said I was going to put, you know what, I could just do a simple green. I mean, honestly, it won't hurt anything, and it'll probably be the simplest of the three options. I hate it to be so bland. Can I say bland? Yes, you may say bland. But I hate to just use the one little strip for that. So I can either red it out or green it out, and I think I'm going to red it out. That's what I said earlier. I was going to red it out because I don't want so much green. All right. So I have to get a bigger piece of red. The joy of having so much fabric here. And making sure it's the same color. And I am going to need I'm going to go with 17 on the safe side. 17 and two inches is right at it. 17, I'm going to do 2 inches because it's truly right at it. Now let's see what I've got left over. And that's just 14. So I am going to cut, you know what? I'm not going to cut that. I mean, I'm going to cut that. But I'm going to cut that on this side, not that side. That way I can still have 17 and I don't have to undo the fabric at all. Ready, tidy. Now I'm just cutting the bottom off. They have the dotted stuff at the bottom that I don't need, neither like. almost there. Alrighty. We're going to take this and fold it straight across here. And then we're going to pin it. I actually have my pins this time. They're like, yes, lady, finally. So we're back to the sewing machine for the last sewing. All right, and we're feeling for the edge. I don't think I can feel right now. Oh. All right. No. I hate when that happens. I dislike when that happens. Strongly dislikes when that happens. Gets down there playing, but they just don't know. Mama will take her a nap when I get finished with this. I can Uno and watch them cheat later, because that's all they do. They play Uno and they find ways to cheat. And then I gotta keep up with them cheating. I'm like, Lord, that's what they do. All right, let's iron this over and see what we have. I think I did something with the phone on the side, I'm not sure. Well, it didn't change it, but I did hit it. Okay. So we're going to bring this back. Move these around somewhere. Take these off. And again. We're cutting this off. We're going to push it over just enough to adhere it to that adhesive, and then press it on the next go around. the fun part all right, and you're saying, well, that doesn't look so hot. Well, now we have to cut out the leftovers. And I personally like to start with the edges. I have to get used to this new phone and how it does things because it looks sort of weird. I needed to have a ½ inch. I was about to cut it all the way off. But I need a ½ inch. At least a ½ inch. You can have a 1/4 on some sides if that's all you have left. But you do need to try to get a ½ inch because you're going to remember you're putting this on the same as another fabric for the other side. So you need it to have enough to go over because you got to turn it and you're not going to be sewing it on the white thing. You're going to be sewing it across the white thing. So you need to have enough fabric for that. And then once you've sewn it, you can go ahead and then cut that part off as much as you know, god dang on it, god dang on it, god dang on it. But you'll at least have what you need to sew. And that's important you remember that because then you would have to try to turn that hard adhesive material, and that's very bulky. Not only is it bulky, but it will shorten the length of your project. So let's say you forgot on one, but you remembered on the rest. Now you have an uneven set of placemats. So it believe it or not, measuring is very important. Some of y'all they be trying to skip it, but it's truly not a skippable option. All right, we have the last piece. And then you pick your sides you want to leave open for your turning. Don't pull it because it'll just pull the thread in the material. All right, so now you have more of a shape. Okay? More of a shape. I just don't want to. I don't want to do no decorative stitches, like none. It probably would look better, but that'll take forever. And I don't feel like doing that because that means I'd have to decoratively stitch all of them, and that just it's just too much for my brain. All right, so we have the bottom fabric. Okay, babe. I heard you. Let's see where I put the bottom fabric. Or I should say the other side fabric is right here. And you want to I'm going to charge that phone. So with this one, I'm just going to show you how to apply this after you've ironed it because my battery's going dead. And if I made a mistake or spaced out on this video, y'all do know I have memory issues. So talk about me all you want, but I'm doing me. Alright, so we're ironing it. I'm going to put right sides together. Just because your fabric has been sitting up doesn't mean it doesn't have spots. Moths get to them depending on where you have them stored. things happen, okay? So I try to use as less fabric as possible because I don't like to waste fabric. Fabric costs money. Okay. We got right sides together. I have decided I am going to leave this side open there. I'm back to here. A little bit more. And we are going to tack this middle every direction going outward. And you need to go from side to side so that the tension is the same. Make sure my boobs weren't out, so you know we're kind of low there. I don't know where y'all are at, but it was kind of hot today. Well, if the breeze was blowing, like it was livable if you were in the shade. Other than that, it was hot. Make sure you can use pins are so important. Some people use stick pins, safety pins, I should say. I can't say I'm a fan of those because they shift. I've used them for quilting. Still can't say I'm a fan of those. So to each one in their own. But make sure you pin, 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 pin. You can't have enough pins in this. You cannot. All right. And then we'll do the exact same thing we did before. Let me try to plug this one up. Like it really is not trying to stretch. Yeah, there you go. And we repeat what we did earlier. Make sure you don't overpress on the pins because they will shift your fabric. You want to check to make sure your cut was clean. And you want to cut free the sides you can cut free first. Now you can move around a little bit better. So, I cut some out last night. I did. So the reality, this is probably an hour-long project. Because we're right at almost an hour now. And even with the things I cut out last night, it still is taking some time. Then we're going to sew it. After I check the back, I'll make sure that's not bulky. See, you want this to be flat. You don't want any weirdness in it because when you go to sew it, it will show. It will definitely show. Make sure you have enough room for sewing and growing. And we're gonna go sew this part, and I'll show you how I sew it and cut around it. All right, so we start this side, and I am sewing off of it, so about 1/8 of an inch off, and I check. Y'all about to hear me cuss. Da 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 da. All right. This is actually a slow and steady thing. It don't seem like it should be, but it sort of really is, because if you don't slow and steady it, it won't turn right when you go, and you don't want the stitches to be too close, and sometimes it moves and does funny things. Let's see if I turn it. I can get it a little bit more. All right, so we have that. And I like to look at the stitches around it to make sure that they are nice and straight. I check both sides out. You want to make sure you don't have any loose fabric in between. I mean, loose stitch in between. threads because they will come through on the other side. All right, so we're taking all the pins out, and then I'll show you how I cut it down, because this is important too. All right, so we cut all of the fabric, the thread. Sorry, my brain is like, it's nap time. We cut all the thread pieces off for the corners. Some people cut closer. I prefer cutting triangles. So you cut triangles. That's what I do. I cut triangles. Just cut triangles. Got 8 what they call those things, convexes, vertices. It's like, wait, that's not convex, that's something else. Alright. Now for this part, the only part I don't cut down, I'll show you, is the part that's left open. So for the part that's left open, we're almost finished. For the part that's left open, I don't cut that part down. I will cut down the side, everything to 1/4 of an inch. I find the stitches, and I cut down as close to it as possible, except for the side, like here, because I have to go inside. Everything else, cut down short as possible. Not too close to the stitch, but close enough to clean it up so there's not much bulk. Because you want to be able to turn freely and cleanly. And you can't do that if you have a bunch of extra fabric. You want to go enough away from the stitches that it's not Last side. All right, we have that. Now I gotta make sure. All right, because sometimes I don't. All right. Now we are going to turn it inside out. Are we ready? Now I just go from the farthest part out in the back. That's all I do. And just push it through a little at a time so that you won't stretch any stitch. Because you don't want that. You don't have to force it. Like this is like a ball. And I take my fingers and I gently press open each vertice. Well, I press through, I should say, each vertice. And move on to the next side. We'll do the same thing. Alrighty. Now, let me get my ironing pad so you can see how it turned out. It's crazy how this works out, but it works out. And when you turn it out, look at that. When you turn it out, you don't have to poke nothing through the ends or sides or anything. It is completely, I got thread. It's completely turned over. It's completely